The tug-of-war between state and central agencies for custody of Sandesh Khali strongman Sheikh Shahjahan culminated Wednesday in Bengal CID handing him over to CBI around 6 pm. A day after dodging the first deadline set by Calcutta High Court, at least an hour and 45 minutes past the second one. CBI took Shahjahan, recently suspended from Trinamool, to its regional headquarters at Calcutta Nizam Palace under CRPF escort, capping jurisdictional and legal battle that saw all three agencies involved, including CID and ED, approach the courts. Responding to Bengal Advocate General's request to postpone hearing ED's contempt plea in High Court against government on the ground that a special leave petition was pending in Supreme Court, Justice Harish Tandon said there is no reason for keeping the order in suspended animation. The order is binding on the parties. In a major pre-poll maneuver, BJP and BJD appear to be inching towards an alliance that is likely to boost BJP's bid for a record tally in the Lok Sabha contest while helping BJD extend its tenure in Odisha. A big indication of the possible deal came on Wednesday when BJP's core committee for Odisha restricted its deliberations for selection of nominees to 14 of the 21 seats in the state. In 19, BJP had contested all 21, winning 8. BJD dozed 12, while Congress had to settle for 1. As part of the bargain, BJP will contest 47 assembly seats, leaving the rest 100 for BJD. US President Biden and his predecessor Trump roamed through more than a dozen seats on Super Tuesday, all but cementing a November rematch and pushing the ex-president's last major rival, Nikki Haley, out of the Republican race. Haley won Vermont, denying Trump a full sweep, but the ex-president carried all other states that might have been favorable to her, like Virginia, Minnesota, and Maine. Russia's financial monitoring agency has added former world chess champion and Kremlin critic Gary to its list of terrorists and extremists. The listing puts limits on individuals' bank transactions and forces them to seek approval every time they want to use their accounts. Kasparov, 60, fled Russia in 14 for fear of persecution and has been living in US. PM Modi took a metro ride with students and railway staff after inaugurating Kolkata Metro's esplanade Howrah Maidan section, which passes below the Hooghly River through the country's first underwater transportation tunnel. The East-West Metro, of which 2.5 km is still incomplete, will be fully operational by October end. Modi also virtually inaugurated the 6-km priority corridor of Agra Metro. In Bengal's Barasat, Modi said the storm of Sandesh Khali would sweep Bengal and Nari Shakti would play a pivotal role in decimating TMC in Lok Sabha polls. He also met 5 women from Sandesh Khali who had claimed that they faced sexual harassment at TMC offices. Supreme Court on Wednesday severely indicated former Uttarakhand Forest Minister Harak Singh Rawat and Divisional Forest Officer Kishan Chand for illegal felling of thousands of trees in Pakhadu area inside Corbett Tiger Reserve and asked the state to restore the forest to its original state and recover the restoration cost from the culprits. A bench of Justices Bhushan G. Gavai and P.K. Mishra and Sandeep Mehta minced no words in criticizing the former minister and the DFO in blatant disregard of the law, and for commercial purposes the then Forest Minister and DFO Kishan Chand indulged the illicit felling of trees on a mass scale to construct buildings on pretext of promotion of tourism, the bench said. Enforcement Directorate on Wednesday filed another application before a Delhi court seeking action against Delhi CM Kejriwal under Section 174 of IPC for avoiding 5 summons issued to him in a money laundering probe related to the excise policy case. The matter has been listed for hearing Thursday. On the previous ED application over the CM skipping 3 summons, the court had asked him to appear before it on March 16. The tussle between Rajnivas and elected government escalated yet again Wednesday after Lieutenant Governor V.K. Saxena tagged Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal while posting pictures of the dilapidated condition of Kalandar Colony, Northeast Delhi on social media. Aap government responded by asking LG not to play dirty politics with the problems of people. Yesterday evening, I went to Kalandar Colony in Shahadra, Northeast Delhi, and saw the condition worse than hell. It is not possible to express in words the plight of the people living amid the holes, closed drains, heaps of garbage, and bad smell in the names of roads. Saxena posted on social media platform X, formerly Twitter, stating that as LG it was his constitutional responsibility to highlight people's issues and bring to CM's attention to the problems they faced. Saxena said locals complained that 35,000 people live in brutal life in 4,000 houses. It was the responsibility of DUSIB, of which CM is the chairman, to provide basic public facilities and cleanliness was under MCD. LG's latest post on X came amid continuing tensions between him and CM since Tuesday, when he had complained on social media platform about the living conditions at Sangam Vihar and posted pictures of the area. In response, CM had said that despite holding a constitutional post, LG was playing the role of opposition, which was ideally meant for BJP MPs and MLAs. Kejriwal has also demanded strict action against the officials responsible for the area's upkeep, saying services and vigilance was under LG. To curb the use of mobile phones inside jails, prison authorities has begun installing 15 jammers in high security wards in Tihar. According to prison sources, the installation will be completed by March. We first conducted an audit to identify the areas that need jammers. The equipment is being installed in high security wards housing dreaded criminals and gangsters, a source said. There are more than 200 prisoners lodged in such wards in Delhi's 3 prison complexes, including over 100 in Tihar. During investigation in several cases, cops found that extortion rings were either being operated or hits were being ordered from within the jails. For instance, on February 25, INLD chief Nafez Singh Rathi was shot dead in Haryana's Bahadurgarh. On February 26, police teams questioned jailed gangster Jyoti Baba in the case, said sources. A day later, his brother, UK-based gangster Kapil Sangwan, claimed responsibility for the killing. Tihar sources also revealed they are exploring additional solutions to eliminate the problem. We are considering installing more high-tech gadgets inside prisons and are evaluating options, the sources added. The national capital has no pending cases of sexual harassment at workplace, as the sole designated court to deal with these at the district level has brought the pendency down to zero. The Industrial Tribunal houses in Rose Avenue and headed by a judge of Delhi Judiciary is the designated court to deal with matters pertaining to sexual harassment at workplace under Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act 2013. At present, the tribunal is presided over by the judge Ajay Goyal, who has managed to dispose of pending matters, especially in appeals and cases relating to POSH Act. The last case was cleared on January 5. Only one case, figures reveal, is pending since the proceedings have been stayed by High Court. In Delhi, there are 2 industrial tribunals and 7 labor courts, which are now situated in Rose Avenue Court Complex. The labor courts are presided over by judges from Delhi High Court, Higher Judicial Services, and deal with all types of dispute between employees and employers and employees under the provision of Industrial Dispute Act and other labor laws. Enforcement Directorate on Wednesday filed another application before a court seeking action against CM Kejriwal under IPC Section 174 for avoiding 5 summons issued to him in a money laundering probe related to the alleged Delhi liquor scam. Additional Chief Metropolitan Magistrate Divya Malhotra had listed the matter for hearing on Thursday. Malhotra is also adjudicating ED's previous application filed against Kejriwal, where the agency had sought action against him for disobeying 3 of its summons. The court has also asked Delhi CM to appear in the court on March 16. During the last hearing against Kejriwal on February 7, Malhotra had said that in view of the discussion, the complaint filed by the complainant accompanied by the supporting documents discloses all the necessary ingredients constituting the offences punishable under Section 174 of IPC. The judge had noted that provisions of PMLA enable prosecution under Section 174 of IPC for disobedience of any direction issued by ED. The persons summoned by the agency are bound to comply with order the judge had asked. Under Section 174 of IPC, the court can summon As reported on Wednesday, a Jharkhand court had held former CM Hemant Soren guilty under Section 174 of IPC for defying 7 summons issued by the probe agency and directed him to appear in the case before the court on April 3 when it will deliver its verdict. The ruling exposes Soren, already in judicial custody, to the risk of jail terms another month each of the summons he ignored. Responding to the development, AAP said several court rulings had repeatedly held that ED must inform in what capacity a person was being summoned. Unfortunately, the central government refuses to follow court orders and consider itself above the law, it said. Amit Lathia, a champion sprinter aspiring to represent India in international sports meet, faced a major setback when his father suffered a heart attack in 2008. He had to give up his dreams and started working as a tea stall, and not only to support his family but also to earn some money for admission to a coaching institute for competitive exams. Lathia cracked the exams for entry into the police forces of Chandigarh and Delhi and opted for the latter in 2010. The difficult manner in which he accomplished his mission turned his thoughts to helping similarly underprivileged children. Lathia has adopted 350 youngsters till now and facilitated proper education for them, resulting in more than 181 of them securing government jobs. I was doing well in the under 16 national track team and could have represented India in the 400-meter race. But the sudden family crisis crushed my dream. I sought help from many people, but no one came forward except Naveen, the owner of a coaching institute, who saw me working at a tea stall and ensured me that I got to study for free. Lathia, now 35-year-old, recalled. He is now a head constable posted in the mobile crime team in Rohini district. His wife Manju is an assistant professor at a government college in Sonipat. I travel every day from Sonipat to Delhi. If I am on night duty, I take classes for children in the morning. If my duty is in the morning, I take classes at night. Manju helps me as to do other youths who studied here and cleared government exams, said Lathia. The policeman manages the food, accommodation and education of his wards with his own salary and some donations in Sonipat. I started by teaching Arun, a boy from my village whose parents were killed in a road accident. Arun is now a constable in Delhi police, said Lathia. Father Satyavir, mother Biramati, sister Monica and brother Sandeep are his strong supporters. He also adopted and educated Sanjeet, who was orphaned as a child. Sanjeet is now serving in army. He was the first that Lathia took under his wings fully. I adopted other kids who had lost their parents, he said. In 2016, 6 children were hit by a truck. 3 children died and the other were seriously injured. Lathia decided to build a playground on the barren plot in Sonipat so children could play and not face the hazards like the 6 children had. He took a loan of rupees 10 lakh for the purpose, and today the place is called Shahid Bhagat Singh Sports Ground, where thousands of children play every day. At 12, after she lost her father, Shivani Singh's family faced sudden uncertainty. School and college fees to household expenses. A family of 6 had its task cut out. Shivani had to grow up quickly, she said. After getting through school, the teenager took up sewing as children's hobby to fund her 2-year diploma course in electrical engineering at Bhagwati Institute of Technology and Science in Dhasana. During campus hiring, a government came looking for candidates who would drive their new project. Shivani was among those who made it. After several months of training, the 22-year-old is among the milestone women of a milestone journey as pilots of Namo Bharat, India's first semi-high-speed train system that was launched by the PM last year and will see a full unveiling in 2020. 2025, when trains run all the way from Delhi to Meerut. The youngest of five siblings, Shivani lost her father in a road accident. I had started saving out of boredom. Eventually, it helped me contribute to my family's income. My elder brother supported me in my school days, but a time came when I had to make the choice to stand on my own feet. I enrolled for 2 year diploma course in electrical engineering and completed it with the money I have saved, Singh said. After being selected by the NCR Transport Corporation, the batch of 18 women picked to pilot the new age trains were trained for a year. They were assigned to Lucknow Metro for the first 3 months, where they were taught how modern trains operated. The remaining 9 months were at Duhai Depot, where we had both practical and theoretical classes to get well versed in the operation of rapid rail trains. First, we trained on simulators, and later we were drilled on real trains, she added. Shivani remembers the trial runs vividly because that's where the speed records were set. During one of the trials, I clocked 160 km/h when I was in the driver's seat. Adrenaline was pumping and my mind raced back to the day when I first tried the sewing machine in our home, she told. Commercial operations on the second leg of 34-kilometer rapid rail corridor from Duhai to Modinagar North will commence on March 8. Prime Minister Narendra Modi virtually inaugurated the 17-kilometer line on Wednesday, along with the tunnel under the Hooghly of the East-West Metro in Kolkata and several other projects across the country. While the PM was in Kolkata, Union Urban Development Minister Hardeep Singh Puri, who attended the inauguration program at Muradnagar Rapid Rail Station, emphasized the project's embodiment of Gati se Pragati. Namo Bharat is New India's vehicle of progress and empowerment. The semi-high-speed rail seamlessly connects the urban nodes across NCR with the mainstream of development. Namo Bharat heralds a tectonic shift in connecting cities, seamlessly promoting public transport usage, enhancing accessibility of markets and opportunities, and boosting economic growth. It is a game changer and a step towards a smarter, more connected region. Initiatives like the RRTS enable seamless transportation, facilitating commutes and enhancing the quality of life, Puri said, adding that work on the remaining 48-kilometer corridor is being completed on a war footing. Union Minister of State for Civil Aviation and Road Transport and Highway, General VK Singh, and NCRTC MD Vinay Kumar were also at the event. Several school children took a ride on the rapid rail after the inauguration. Trains will operate between 6 to 8 pm, 6 am to 8 pm as commercial operations on the 17-kilometer section with 3 stations: Muradnagar, Modinagar South and Modinagar North. After Duhai starts on Friday, the distance from Sahibabad to Modinagar North, spanning 8 stations, will be covered in approximately 25 minutes. The 17-kilometer Sahibabad-Duhai section was inaugurated by the PM last year. National Investigation Agency on Wednesday released a photograph of the unidentified man suspected to have planted the bomb at Rameshwaram Cafe in Bengaluru on March 1 and declared a Rs 10 lakh reward for any member of the public who shares information leading to the arrest. 10 people were injured in the low-intensity blast of cafe in East Bengaluru's Brookfield. NIA had formally taken over the investigation a couple of days ago, seeking information on the suspected bomber. In a post on X along with his photograph, INA assured that the identity of the informant shall be kept confidential. In the photo, the suspected bomber can be seen wearing a grey shirt and the jeans and carrying a backpack. He has donned a baseball cap and is wearing a pair of glasses, ostensibly to mask his identity. Supreme Court on Wednesday allowed establishment of tiger safaris in buffer or peripheral zones of tiger reserve, but prohibited the display of healthy big cats from the habitat along with those bred in a zoo, ordering scrupulous implementation of National Tiger Conservation Authority's 2016 guidelines. A bench of Justices B.R. Gawai, P.K. Mishra and Sandeep Mehta said no tiger shall be obtained from a zoo, wild tigers which are from the same landscape as that of the area in which the safari is set up should be kept there and would include injured ones after their recovery, orphaned tiger cubs which are unfit for rewilding, and conflict tigers. No healthy tiger or other species of animal should be sourced from the wild to be kept in the safaris. The bench expressed serious concern over mushrooming of resorts around tiger reserves, which are mostly used as destination wedding venues and play loud music, causing damage to wildlife and the ecosystem, and said even in buffer or peripheral areas, though a lesser degree of habitat protection than the core area is to be provided, provisions are required to be made to ensure the integrity of the critical tiger habitat with adequate dispersal for tiger species. Madras High Court Wednesday, while passing orders on petition on the Sanatan Dharma speech controversy, observed that statements made by Tamil Nadu Minister Udyanidhi Stalin and PK Shekhar Babu and DMK MP A Raja were divisive and should not have been made. As High Court said, Udyanidhi's remark equating Sanatan Dharma to HIV and malaria that need to be eradicated was perverse and against the constitutional mandate. Making unverified claims on Sanatan Dharma is tantamount to spreading misinformation. Justice Anita Sumant said High Court also censured Shekhar for participating in the meeting for eradication of Sanatan Dharma. However, Justice Sumant said, who was hearing a batch of pleas filed by Hindu Munnai, declined the issue of writ of quo warranto to the DMK leaders for holding their constitutional post. The petition questioned the authority under which the trio have been continuing in their post, Udyanidhi and Shekhar as minister and Raja as MP, after allegedly violating the constitution and spreading hatred against the religion by calling for eradication of Sanatan Dharma. Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra will contest Lok Sabha elections from Amethi and Raebareli seats respectively, said Congress functionaries, adding that the decision was taken at a meeting they had with the party leadership in Delhi this week. It implies Priyanka's electoral debut from the seats represented by her mother Sonia Gandhi, who was now moved to Rajya Sabha, and Rahul possibly contesting from Amethi along with Wayanad in Kerala. Asked about the growing budge, Pradeep Singhal, Amethi District Congress Chief, said, yes, it's correct, but both will contest from Amethi and Raebareli. We had gone to Delhi for a meeting chaired by the party's top leadership. The party has asked us to start preparation for the election, which we have. The claim ties in with the indication that there is a growing pressure on Gandhi family to contest from the pocket borough, where the party hold has grown weaker post 2014, evidence in Rahul's defeat at the hands of Union Minister Smriti Irani in the 19 polls. Top party sources, however, said no decision has been conveyed by the Gandhi family yet on Amethi and Raebareli, but demands have only been growing in recent months. Scores of workers from Amethi Raebareli are presently campaigning in the capital, and their visit to AICC headquarters on Wednesday triggered a media frenzy. Their claims about Rahul Amethi Priyanka Raebareli went viral, although leaders acknowledged that 24 contests would be tough for the opposition in the northern region. Manager exuded confidence that the twin seats would react positively to Gandhi family. Voters here have a personal connect with the family. The Amethi defeat was an aberration because of their mismanagement, a key loyalist said. Shortly after Modi became PM, Supreme Court in September 2014 referred a three-judge bench the need of reconsideration of 98 judgment in PV Narasimha Rao case that inexplicably shielded MPs who took bribe to vote in Parliament from prosecution, citing the immunity clause under Article 105 of the Constitution. Since then, PMO has assiduously followed the developments, referenced the issue offered to a five-judge bench in March 19 and subsequently to a 7-judge bench in September 23. PMO was the view that the majority view in Rao's judgment put a premium on corruption among MPs and MLAs, be for the voting or asking questions in the House, and had suggested to Solicitor General Tushar Mehta to make an all-out attempt to persuade the 7-judge bench to overrule the 98 ruling. Sandesh Khali remained the focal point of PM Modi's Bengal campaign at its third rally in the state in 5 days, chipping away at Trinamool Congress support among the 3.5 crore strong women electorate and projecting BJP as the only party standing up for them. Modi said atrocities and on women in the restive North 24 Pragna's pocket that arrested Trinamool strongman Sheikh Shahjahan used to lord over reflected the governing party's alleged apathy towards them. As in his previous campaign stops, Sandesh Khali resonated almost throughout Modi's 38-minute speech in Barsat, around 82 km from the state's latest political flashpoint. Trinamool घोर पाप को रोचे. Oh, such an anti-woman government can never work for women's uplift. Sandesh Khali has shown BJP is the only voice of tormented women, the PM said. Alluding to Shahjahan, he said Trinamool government has still trying its best to protect the accused despite setbacks in Calcutta High Court and Supreme Court. He predicted that women's rage against Trinamools would not be confined to Sandesh Khali, it will spread across Bengal and India. I can see Nari Shakti is determined to end Trinamool's Mafia Raj. At Barsat, the PM anchored BJP's woman-centric approach to the party's new Modi Ka Parivar campaign, born out of RJD chief Lalu Prasad jibe that he does not have a family call his own. They want to know that where Modi's Parivar is. They should look as his sister who were here with me. This is my family. I count every mother and sister as part of my family. Every time I am in trouble, Bengal's women back me like Durga. Naveen Patnaik-led BJD was part of NDA until 2009. Home Minister Amit Shah and BJP Chief JP Nadda attended meeting of the party's core committee for Odisha. Former Union Minister Jural Oram, a prominent BJP figure in Odisha who too attended the meeting, confirmed that possibility of BJP-BJD alliance being revived was on the table. There were discussions on many issues including a possible coalition plan. The central leadership will take a final call, he said. Asked by reporters in Bhubaneswar, senior BJP leader Devi Prasad Mishra said BJD will take whatever decision is the best interest of the state as Odisha eyes new milestones of development in the centenary year of its formation in 2036. His remark at once sparked speculation that the electoral pact may be sealed on Friday. BJD had abruptly pulled out of NDA on March 8, 2009. The rupture, however, did not damage personal rapport between PM Modi and Odisha CM Naveen Patnaik was consistently held BJP in Rajya Sabha where NDA lacks a majority. Their friendship frequently on a display in public settings where they compliant each other unfailingly is seen as the main driver of resumption of the alliance, which would entail BJP settling for fewer seats in Lok Sabha than what it had in the outgoing House and BJP deferring its ambition to take the helm in Bhubaneswar for another 5 years. Slamming BJP's growing proximity with BJD in Odisha, former Congress leader and Union Minister Srikant Jaina on Wednesday returned to the party claiming that India bloc will defeat the unholy alliance in his home state. Jaina said there were some misunderstandings which may now been clarified. I met Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge, KC Venugopal along with Ajay Kumar. We had a long chat and it has been sorted out. I have been working in favor of Congress even though I have been away. He was referring to the reasons that led to his expulsion from party in 2019. Jaina said that people of Odisha are angry with the alliance, even as Kumar said that a proposed tie-up between them will only make an official what has been a tactic pact between the two parties. Comparing India's growth momentum with Tejas combat aircraft, RBI Governor Shaktikant Das on Wednesday said the economy could expand around 8% this year, higher than the 7.6% estimated by the National Statistical Office. Our sense and understanding of higher frequency indicators and momentum of economic activity tells us that this 5.9% growth forecast for Q4 could be exceeded. when what happens, growth in financial year 24 will be more than 7.6%. There is quite good chance of GDP growth being close to 8%, thus told ET, now adding that the economy could expand around 7% next year. He said overall rural demand is showing signs of improvement while remaining strong in urban areas. Besides, other economic metrics such as private investment capacity utilization and bank credit growth are showing an uptick on recent restriction imposed on Paytm Payment Bank. The governor said the March 15 deadline for imposing restriction on deposits was sufficient and urged consumers who are only linked to the controversial entity to link their accounts with other players. About 80 to 85% of Paytm Payment Bank's users are linked to other banks along with Paytm Bank or other lenders. Their payments will go on in a non-disruptive manner. The challenge is with those 15 to 20% users. These customers are getting onboarded to other banks. He also said RBI remained fully supportive of fintech and reiterated his concern over cryptocurrency, arguing they are no underlying and are speculative. Lying in the intensive care unit of a Chennai hospital, Chitra Ravichandran was slipping in and out of unconsciousness, but she had just one query for her son Ravichandran Ashwin when he saw him for beside. Why did you come? Hours after becoming only the second Indian bowler after Anil Kumble to take 500 test wicket, Ashwin rushed back home to Chennai during the third game against England in Rajkot after coming to know that his mother had been hospitalized following a blackout. When I landed and go to the hospital, my mom was slipping in and out of consciousness, and the first thing she asked me was, why did you come? The next time she was conscious, she said, I think you should go back because the test match is happening. Ashwin told this on Wednesday. The off spinner emotionally recalled how his parent Ravichandran and Chitra worked their backsides off to help him realize their collective cricketing dream. The entire family is to build on cricket and to facilitate my career. It has not been easy. It has been very hard of them. It's been a big roller coaster for them, going through the emotions and ups and downs that I myself do, the 37-year-old said. The mountains look beautiful, but danger lurks within. The fascinating 5-test series, one of wonderful twists and turns, now winds up on its last leg here on the panoramic HPCA Stadium. It's not the speculator locale, however, but the uncertainty of these hilly conditions that has both India and England worried. Predicting both the weather and the way the pitch will behave is fraught with risk. England, who have already lost the plot, are seeking to script at least an entertaining closing chapter with a win in the dead rubber. India, who had stolen their fire, will look to rub it and earn some vital world test championship points. Above all, it's how the conditions play out that may have this dead rubber come alive.